We're in the middle of Bein HaMetzarim, in the middle of the 3 weeks, this most difficult time of the Jewish year for our nation. The time in the year when we commemorate and we remember all the tragedies that have befallen Klal Yisrael throughout all our history, of all various minhagim to put us in this place, this difficult place, this sad place. At the same time, it's a little bit strange. We say it's 3 weeks, 21 days, and we have so many different Torahs, 21 days, connected the 21 days of Yom Tov throughout the year, 21 days, connected the days from Rosh Hashanah through Sukkot. But is it really 3 weeks? Is it really 21 days? Add up the days. From Shivat B'Tammuz until Tisha B'Av, there are actually 22 days. Forget about being Nidche this year, I'm saying in general. There are 22 days. Shivat B'Tammuz is day 1, counted, and you end Tisha B'Av as day 22. So why are we calling it 3 weeks? Why 21 days? If they're really 22 days, when we think about the number 22, it's Keneged, the letters of the Aleph base. The letters of the Aleph base, which we have uprooted throughout our history and led us to these days, days of Galus, days of difficulty when we don't keep Torah mitzvahs in the proper way. There was a time in history when those letters flew up to Shemayim, were literally uprooted by the breaking of the Luchos, which was the first calamity of Shivas B'Tammuz on that list in the Gemara that we're commemorating during these days. So the first calamity, the first difficulty, the first tragedy of all these days was, in a certain sense, the breaking of the Luchos and the letters flying up to Shemayim. But Chazal teaches only 21 out of 22 letters actually flew up to Shemayim, because there was one letter that wasn't on the first of the Dibros. That was the letter Tes. Because the letter Tes represents Tov, represents when things are good. And the first Luchos that were going to be broken couldn't have the letter Tes because they weren't good. They were going to be broken as they were. So 21 letters flew up to Shemayim, connected to 21 days of difficulty, of tragedy. But ultimately there are 22 days. What's going on? That 22nd day is Tisha B'Av itself, is the 9th of Av, representing the letter Tes, B'Gematria 9. What does that mean? That means, of course, we have to recognize we've had tragedy. But we also have to recognize all of the tragedy and all the difficulty is only to mechazik us, and only to bring about and give birth to Geula, to redemption. It's all here so that we do introspection. We come out of this a different person. And we change. And we rectify that which we're doing wrong. And then looking back, it's going to be the best thing in the world for us. And that's what the letter Tes really represents. There are 9 months of pregnancy, Tes, 9. And those months of pregnancy often are difficult. Ask any woman, don't ask me. The pain, the suffering, the nausea, but all to lead to a birth, to an incredible simcha. So ultimately, is that really bad? It's awesome. Anyone takes that for the beautiful simcha. And so too, on Tisha B'Av itself, on that 9th of Av, yes, there's destruction, but all that destruction leads to birth. It leads to the birth of Mashiach. Chazal tells us Mashiach is born on Tisha B'Av. So it leads to Geula. And all of these days will lead to Geula. And all of the difficulty that we go through in life, we have to look at it not as difficulty. Yes, we can be sad that it happened. And yes, we have to do introspection because of it. But only to inspire us to be better people, to be better Jews, to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with more passion, to daven better, to be nicer to each other. And then ultimately it's all for the best. Ultimately it all led us to a beautiful, wonderful place. And it's going to give birth to the biggest simcha. So that's why there are only 21 days. Because there aren't really full 22 days. There aren't really full 22 letters that were destroyed. One letter that represents Tov, that really represents all of this, is to tell us that it's all really Tov. This is ending in the 9th of Av. And that letter Tes, that 9th, represents Tov. It's all good. Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, we should be zoicha to see that. To take these days seriously, to uplift ourselves. But ultimately recognize that it's going to give birth to all simcha and bracha. And that's up to us. It's up to us to take the day seriously, to be mechazik ourselves, and to say to Hashem through our actions, no longer should we see difficulty. Only geula and simcha, geula shlema, Mashiach Yirkeinu b'mheira b'yameinu.